Hello friends, today we discuss corporate social responsibility. In this class we discuss the meaning and definition of the term corporate social responsibility or CSR, meaning of the related terms such as stakeholders and corporate citizenship, features of CSR, objectives and aims, the reasons, advantages, importance and arguments for and against CSR, relationship of CSR with ethics and law. And in addition to this, we will also look into some examples of CSR activities undertaken by some Indian companies. We can start with the meaning. From the title, we can understand that the topic is about the social responsibility of corporates. Who are the corporates? Corporates are big companies or large business houses. The corporates are also known as corporations. A corporation is a legal entity that is separate and distinct from the owners. We have already studied that shareholders contribute capital for such companies, and these shareholders are the real owners of the company. Moreover, these companies and corporations are considered as artificial persons, and because of this they have rights and powers similar to normal persons or human beings. Corporations have most of the rights and responsibilities that individuals possess. They can enter into contracts, they can give loans and borrow money, they can sue and be sued, hire employees, own assets and pay taxes. Similar to human beings, these companies and corporations are treated like persons. Because of this, some refer corporates as legal persons. Legal persons. Today, we discuss the social responsibility of corporates. What is social responsibility? It is the responsibility towards the society over and above the economic objectives of the companies. Social responsibility is the obligation to contribute towards the well-being and welfare of society. It is the obligation to protect the nature and environment. It is the responsibility to ensure welfare and growth of the people around. It is the responsibility to supply good quality products to the people. It is the responsibility to pay taxes on time. Why it is said that the corporates have some social responsibility? I may ask another question. Do you have any responsibility to look after your aged parents? Do you have any responsibility to respect your teachers? Of course you have, because your parents and teachers have helped you a lot to grow and develop. And now you have some responsibilities to attend and respect them. Children have responsibility to look after aged parents, because it is because of these parents the children could grow and study well. Behind the success of children, we can see the efforts of parents. Like this, the corporates are functioning in society just because of society and its resources. Corporates manufacture different products using the raw materials provided by society, using the human resources available from society. Corporates market their products among people in the society. The corporates are strongly connected to society and its people. It has no existence without society. Therefore, it has no right to exploit the nation and its resources. It has no right to exploit the nature. Corporates have no right to pollute the environment. It has no right to exploit the people. Altogether, we can say the corporates have some social responsibilities, obligations, liabilities, and this topic is discussed here. Now we can see some definitions of the term CSR. According to Keith Davis, CSR is the firm's consideration of and response to issues beyond the narrow economic, technical, and legal requirements of the firm. This definition makes it clear that CSR is not the performance of some economical contributions, or it is not complying with the legal requirements. CSR is over and above legal minimum. It includes the interventions of the company in the social necessities and ensuring its welfare. CSR is beyond economic and legal requirements. It is because of this, in 1979, Archie Carroll opined that the social responsibility of business encompasses the economic, legal, ethical, and discretionary expectations that society has on organizations at a given point of time. Archie Carroll says that CSR is not giving something to society, but it is the obligation to meet the expectations of society at a given point of time. Here, the society has some needs and the business should help the society to satisfy it. Thus, CSR is not offering something that you have, but to provide what the society wants. Here, the company should make use of its discretionary power to decide what all expectations of the society are to be carried out. Definition given by Howard Bowen is very significant. Howard Bowen is considered as the father of corporate social responsibility. Bowen was an American economist. In 1953, he published a book, Social Responsibilities of the Businessman. In that book, he shared his views on CSR. According to him, CSR is the obligations of businessmen to pursue those policies, to make those decisions, or to follow those lines of action which are desirable in terms of the objectives and values of society. This definition directs the company to frame suitable policies and take decisions which help society in attaining its objectives by keeping values. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR, is a self-regulating business model that helps a company be socially responsible. This makes the company accountable to stakeholders. Corporates have responsibility in the well-being of its stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders of a company? Everyone around the company is a stakeholder. Every group of persons connected to the corporates are the stakeholders. The management, employees, customers, suppliers, creditors, government, general public, and even the competitors are stakeholders. This means that every group which is keeping a link with the company is a stakeholder of that company. In that sense, social responsibility of a company means responsibility of a company towards all the stakeholders around it. As per this, what all can be done by the companies to its stakeholders? What all are to be done for shareholders? The company should make sure proper return on the investments. It should ensure maximization of shareholders' wealth. The company should make use of the capital properly and effectively. The employees also should be benefited. Proper wages and salaries should be made, and it should be paid regularly without delay. The working conditions should be comfortable. Job security should be ensured. Suppliers are the other stakeholders. Good relations are to be kept with them. Timely payment of dues need to be made. Customers are the next group. They should get quality products at reasonable price. They should be ensured sufficient value for the money. Any kind of adulteration or other unfair practices should be avoided. The government is the other stakeholder. As far as the government is concerned, the legal requirements and instructions should be strictly followed by the company. Sufficient employment opportunities should be provided. Taxes should be paid accurately and timely. The companies should be able to help the society in its well-being and growth. The company must be able to improve the standard of living of people with the supply of quality products. Environment is a stakeholder of a company. Society is another stakeholder. As part of CSR, the companies can undertake the general welfare and growth of public. Companies can undertake the activities for improving education and general economic condition of the public. It can also go for improving general infrastructure and health conditions of society. In short, through CSR, the companies can actively take part in the social welfare activities through any means in accordance with the ethical and cultural values of the society. Even the competitors are to be treated as stakeholders. The advertisements and sales promotion strategies should never aim at insulting or humiliating the competitor. CSR companies should never go for any kind of harassment and unfair treatment to anybody. In fact, CSR is not a mere responsibility to keep good relations with all. Of course, the corporates should keep good relations with all stakeholders. As an artificial person or a legal person, the company has a lot of responsibilities similar to a responsible citizen of a country. In that sense, corporate social responsibility is often called as corporate citizenship. Corporate citizenship refers to a company's responsibilities toward society. A company should meet all environmental, legal and social responsibilities and should help the society to grow and develop. Corporate social responsibility is also termed as corporate accountability. This means that CSR is not a narrow concept. It is a liability or an obligation to protect and develop the surroundings. It is the obligation to protect and develop the environmental factors around the business. Okay, now we can look at the features of CSR. Literature on CSR highlights 6 important features to CSR. The first one says that CSR is a voluntary activity. This feature says that CSR is a voluntary responsibility of a company. Generally, the companies are required to follow a number of legal requirements to function. CSR is not the process of satisfying legal requirements and duties. It is beyond legal responsibilities. CSR is the voluntary undertaking of activities for the social and environmental well-being and development. Another feature is managing externalities.
Do you know meaning of externality? Externality is the positive or negative side effect of an economic behavior of the company to be borne by others. For example, a company makes use of the water from a river near to it for production purposes.
The company is making use of this river water for their production purposes, and they have no intention to make any harm to anyone. Here, the behavior of the company is purely economic, as they want to make a profit out of the production. But really what happens? As the company is making use of the river water, the people around the company do not get sufficient water even for their daily necessities. Because of the economic behavior of the company, some common people suffer shortage of water. This is the external impact of the economic behavior of a company. This is externality. Externality is the positive or negative side effects of an economic behavior of a company. And this externality is to be borne by others. CSR believes that when a company keeps an economic behavior, they should ensure that the decision is not making any adverse effect on anyone, any negative externality to anyone. The companies should be aware of the externalities of their decision and behavior. This is the management of externalities. CSR is very particular on the external impact of economic decisions of the company. It is not the simple process of obeying the law. The company might have taken legal or official permission to use the water for production purpose. Legally it is permitted, but CSR considers some other ethical behavior over and above legal minimum. This is CSR. Here the company is internalizing the externalities. Now the third feature, CSR keeps multiple stakeholder orientation. The classical views on CSR ideology believes that the ultimate responsibility of the company is to maximize the wealth of its shareholders. Maximization of wealth of the shareholder is the ultimate responsibility of the company. This is an olden view on CSR. It gives importance to shareholders only. But now CSR gives equal importance to all stakeholders. It includes all groups of people around the business. In addition to shareholders, it includes management, employees, customers, creditors, suppliers, government, and the general public. Now the feature of CSR is not to protect the interest of shareholders alone, but to protect the interests and well-being of all stakeholders of the business. Next feature is the alignment of social and economic responsibilities. CSR aims at keeping an equilibrium between social responsibility and profitability of the business. Many argues that CSR would badly affect the profitability of the business. But CSR believes that the business can attain profit targets and growth rates in a better manner by keeping CSR policies. CSR is the effective alignment of social and economic responsibilities. Next feature is the practices and values. Some believe that CSR is clearly a particular set of business practices and strategies to deal with social issues. But some others consider CSR as a set of values to be kept by any business as a responsible organization situating in a society. As per this view, it is not a mere business strategy, but is a responsibility that is to be undertaken voluntarily. Next feature is CSR is beyond philanthropy. What is philanthropy? Philanthropy is the generous behavior towards poor and weak. It is a kind of charity. Many consider CSR as a philanthropy. They think that it is a charity or generosity by the rich companies towards the poor people. But actually, CSR is not confined to the term philanthropy. It is more than that. CSR is not the generosity of the rich towards the poor, but it is the responsibility of every business to protect its own surroundings. It is the responsibility of business to repay the resources, benefits, and opportunities used by it for its growth and development. CSR is not a charity, but it is a liability. CSR is beyond philanthropy. It is an obligation of the company to its environment. Now we can have a look at the objectives of CSR. From this discussion, it is very clear that the CSR has some clear objectives to attain. These objectives are the social benefits to be achieved through CSR. CSR aims at eradicating poverty. It intends to maintain and improve healthy living of people. It aims at giving good education to all. CSR activities are aimed at improving drinking water facilities and other infrastructural facilities. Corporates are bound to keep the environment clean and hygienic. They help countries to grow economically. They make efficient use of energy and ensure effective use of natural resources. In short, CSR is a concept which proposes to increase standard of living of people and to protect environment through efficient and effective use of its resources with the voluntary involvement of corporates. CSR is urging the corporates to take part in those activities which makes the life on earth more comfortable by protecting normal climatic conditions and ensuring healthy life environment. The corporates are also bound to be ethical in dealings. The corporates should obey the legal obligations also. Okay, as a next topic, we can see the 4 dimensions of corporate social responsibility. Dimensions are the levels of CSR. These dimensions explain the basic aspects on which the CSR is built upon. Generally, the dimensions are presented in the form of a pyramid. This pyramid is called Pyramid of Corporate Social Responsibility. As per this, the first and most basic responsibility of business is the economic responsibility. Next is legal responsibility. The third one is ethical responsibility. At the top, there is discretionary responsibility. This is also called philanthropic responsibility. Economic responsibility is nothing but making profits. Every corporate is a business unit which work for making profit. Without being economically viable and profitable, no business can survive and grow. It is to be remembered that only profitable business can undertake the responsibility to protect and improve society. Loss-making companies cannot meet their social responsibilities effectively. Next dimension is the legal responsibility. Legal responsibility is the obligation to follow the rules and regulations of the country where the business exists. As an artificial person, every corporate has obligation to follow the laws existing in the country. From this, it is very clear that the company which follows legal requirements can only engage into the activities to develop a society. When the company itself violates the rules and exploiting the environment, there is no meaning in engaging into social responsibilities. Therefore, in order to engage into CSR activities, the business should make profits through legal means. From this discussion, it is clear that at first the company should make profit. Then the company should obey all legal requirements. Only such companies can enter into the corporate social responsibilities. Now, the third dimension, it is the ethical responsibility. Ethical responsibility is over and above legal obligations. Here we need to compare CSR with ethics. Ethical responsibility is beyond the legal minimum. It asks the business not only to be legal and justifiable, but to be humane also. Ethical responsibility asks the business not only to be friendly to people and environment, but to be protective and caring. It asks the business to engage into those activities which ensures healthy living environment. The last dimension is the discretionary responsibility. This discretionary responsibility is the core of CSR. It is the sole discretion of the business on which areas it should channelize its CSR initiatives. It is the responsibility voluntarily undertaken by the business which ensures a healthy living and a safe environment. Through this, the companies undertake the responsibility of social well-being better education, drinking water, health services, energy, communication, and infrastructure facilities. At this discretion, the companies decide on which areas it should concentrate its CSR activities. Here, it is expected from the part of companies that they should be ready to fulfill the expectations of society. Over and above the legal and ethical behavior, the society expects something from the company. The company should realize these expectations and should take maximum effort to make it possible. When we make a close look at the dimensions of CSR, we can easily realize that CSR is built upon three basic aspects. These are three P's of CSR. These are people, planet, and profit. This is known as the triple bottom line of CSR. People refers to employees, the community, and the common public in the region where the company operates. Planet refers to the nature and environment which would be sustained by the CSR practices. Profit is the economic value created by the business organization on the basis of which the business can undertake all its CSR activities. This is the triple bottom line of CSR. Even though CSR is a widely accepted social welfare strategy of companies, there are many who oppose this concept. There are many arguments for and against CSR. We can have a look at some of these arguments. At first, we can look at the arguments in favor of CSR. We can consider these arguments as the importance, advantage, or benefits of CSR. One important argument is that CSR improves public image of the companies. It is a fact that through CSR, the companies are undertaking many public utility services. Through CSR, companies improve the standard of living of people and social development. These activities increase public image of the company. Another argument is that CSR can minimize the complaints and resistances against company. Nowadays, a number of companies are facing public grievances against a number of issues such as waste disposal, pollution, unhealthy work environment, exploitation of natural resources, etc. However, the nature and volume of such complaints and agitations will be minimum in the case of CSR companies. Another strong argument is that CSR companies can exist for long time. Only those companies which uphold the interests of society can exist for long time in society. We know that the companies require public support and cooperation to survive and grow. The society would cooperate with and support only those companies which protect the social welfare and interest. Therefore, CSR is to be followed by every company without any hesitation. CSR is the best strategy to create and maintain loyal customers. As we all know, CSR is a social service. A company which protects social interests will be accepted by the people wholeheartedly. Such a company can achieve maximum customers. The goodwill of such a company increases gradually. It helps the company to increase its market share. It is a fact that a company which follows CSR can achieve better public image and goodwill. This goodwill attracts the people and it may lead to gaining new customers. As CSR protects the interests of all stakeholders, it enables the company to maintain healthy relations with all these stakeholders. Employees, suppliers, and customers will be happy and satisfied. Strong customer base increases profitability. They never try to exploit people and nature. They take all steps to protect ecological balance. They never go for corruption. Because of all these efforts, the companies which uphold their social responsibilities are often get wide acceptance among common public and customers. Such a company can easily raise capital. It can ensure good return on investments. It can maximize shareholders' wealth. Therefore, every company should follow their social responsibilities. However, there are some arguments against CSR. Corporates are business organizations. Their ultimate aim is to protect the interests of shareholders and investors. What is their interest? Their interest is to get a maximum return over their investment. That means the most important objective of any business is to make profit and not to spend their valuable money for the well-being of society. As all know, the business is a risky venture. The money invested may or may not grow. The investors get back their investment only if the company makes profit. If the result is loss, it should be borne by the investors. If it is so, if the company makes a profit, why that should be shared among public? In short, the profit of the company is the return for taking the risk, and it should be available to the investors and shareholders. Another argument is that it is not wise to spend money for unproductive purposes like social services. It is equal to wasting money. The companies should keep some portions of their profit for meeting future requirements. Some money should be kept as reserves. It is not fair to distribute such money for social purposes. If the company spends money for such purposes, it would struggle at the times of crisis and depression. Another argument is that the business managers are not oriented to take up social matters. They are the people who are specifically oriented to look after the affairs related to the company management. If such managers are asked to take up social matters, they would be unable to deal with such requirements. Therefore, the companies need not look for such social obligations. The company management should look after the affairs of the company only. As a next topic, we can see how CSR is related to ethics and law. CSR may be considered as following ethical practices in business. When the business pays more attention to the well-being of society and its people over and above legal requirements, it becomes a CSR. CSR is more ethical than legal. CSR is more related to business ethics than business laws. We know that selling goods at a reasonable price is legal. As per law, the business is not required to sell goods at a loss or at a very low price. However, if a pharma company provides its medicines to poor heart patients at a very low price or at free of cost, it is ethical. This is beyond legal and can be considered as meeting CSR. As part of CSR, many companies are rendering a number of such services benefiting thousands of people. CSR is beyond law. It is something more related to ethics. Being lawful is well and good, but being ethical is more than good. Being ethical, a business can easily build up loyal customers. Ethical treatment of customers motivates them to make repeat purchases, and it gradually improves the goodwill of the business. Good business organizations are always a matter of pride for the employees also. Thus, the employees of an ethical business become more satisfied and productive. It creates a healthy work environment and also helps in improving profitability. In the case of law, law is insisting only to follow the rules and regulations. We have already seen that law insists only for minimum virtue. For example, law insists that you should be equal to all, or you should not be biased to any, and should never discard the poor and weaker sections of the society. However, ethics thinks over and above this idea. Ethics says that you should consider them properly. You should help the poor. CSR is thinking even at a higher level. CSR says that business should take steps to improve the poor conditions of the weaker sections. Business should attend to their problems and should take necessary steps to eradicate poverty and to improve their standard of living. Law never asks for spending money for the welfare of people. It requires to keep all legal formalities. It asks for maintaining records for all incomes and expenses and pay taxes accordingly. What does this mean? This means that CSR is a voluntary activity undertaken by companies over and above legal obligations. CSR is a tool to empower society. It is the strategy to ensure social well-being. However, in India, CSR has been made mandatory by law. According to Companies Act 2013, every company having a net worth of at least 500 crores or minimum turnover of 1000 crores or minimum profit of 5 crores should contribute at least 2% of its profits to CSR activities. India is one of the few countries in the world to have a dedicated CSR act. In fact, it is the first to have brought about a legislation to implement CSR activities, followed by United Kingdom. United Kingdom is the first country which implemented CSR enactments. The CSR rules came into force on 1st April 2014 in India. As per this, the quantum of money utilized for CSR purposes are to be compulsorily included in the profit and loss account of the company. In India, the Companies Act 2013 gives some directions to the companies regarding the areas where the companies should spend their money as part of their CSR activities. As per this, the companies can spend their money in eradicating hunger and poverty, promoting sanitation and health care, promoting education, gender equality, skill development, ecological balance, environmental sustainability, animal welfare, conservation of natural resources, maintaining quality of soil and water, protection of art, heritage, culture, etc. Thus, it is clear direction from the part of government regarding the areas where the business should focus their CSR activities. In India, we can proudly say that almost all of our companies are spending huge amounts on CSR activities. Many companies view CSR as an integral part of their brand image. In this sense, CSR activities can be taken as an important component of corporate public relations. At the same time, some companies are engaged in CSR due to their personal convictions. In India, our companies are contributing crores of rupees towards social development. For example, LIC has established LIC Golden Jubilee Foundation as a part of its corporate social responsibility. The foundation has supported construction of hospitals, school buildings, old age homes, hostel buildings for children in tribal areas, vocational training centers for differently abled persons, and infrastructural facilities to needy persons in different pockets of the country. They have also provided funds for purchase of school buses for transportation of differently abled children and ambulances for transportation of patients to hospital. In the case of Tata Motors, corporate social responsibility initiatives focus on improving the quality of life of underprivileged communities. They focus on health, education, employability and environment. Tata gives a special focus on the historically and socially deprived scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities. They are addressing malnutrition issues, improving employability through skill development, vocational training, women empowerment, offering water relief measures, educational initiatives, integrated rural development approaches, etc. Wipro, another important company, is engaged in education, healthcare, disaster relief activities, and rehabilitation, community healthcare, etc. Most of the companies in India are lively participating in the social responsibility activities. They are spending huge amounts for this social upliftment. CSR activities of the companies are closely observing by the governments and global welfare organizations regularly. They have also constituted some awards to well performers also. Ministry of Corporate Affairs of India has constituted national CSR awards to recognize corporate initiatives in the area of corporate social responsibility. Okay, with this we can conclude this discussion on corporate social responsibility. We can meet again in the next class with another topic. Thank you.